All right, let's get started. First of all, are you excited as I am that the season's ready to kick off here? This is always an extremely exciting time for a football coach, for a football team. That first game week of the season, all the hard work that you put in the off season, the anticipation, everything is there. So now we just got to focus on the preparation and put the final pieces of the game plan together. And what a way to start off with a Big Ten opponent, and so the challenge is high, but that's pretty much the nature of our season and the league that we play in. So we're looking forward to that opportunity. So we'll open it up to questions and see what you guys are curious about.
Coach, there's always so many unknowns going into game one. What is the thing that gives you the most confidence about your team right now, and what's the biggest question mark?
We've been working hard. We've thrown a lot at them, just from the way we approached pre-fall and with school starting. And last week I thought was a very productive week. We really went hard, did some live settings, and put them in as many situations as we possibly can. So, you know, as a coach right now, we feel good about our pre-fall preparation. Now we just got to make sure we continue that through with our game week preparation and just concentrate on our game. We're not going to get caught up in the bigness or, you know, playing up a level. We just want to go out there and be confident in what we do, and then go out there and try to do it.
You know, from poring over the film of Indiana, what's impressed you about their team?
Well, again, they were very close last year, I think, to being a very competitive Big Ten football team. They played some teams extremely close, beat Missouri. So you're talking a pretty high caliber level of play, and they got some people that they need to replace, but you know where they're strong where you want to be. Their offensive line is very strong, their defensive line is very strong. They got a quarterback returning that I think is the real deal, and they're very excited about him. So you know, with those key positions and players for them, you know, I'm sure they're optimistic about their season.
What have you guys said to the team, or maybe you haven't said it yet, but what are you planning to say just regarding the 2006 game and, you know, the upset back then?
Well, 2006, you know, a lot of our guys are probably in grade school or junior high. So, you know, the thing there, all we're going to say is what's been done can be done again, and it's just something that we're not going to dwell on. We're not going to use that as a theme at any point in time, but it is something that everyone is aware of, and I think especially when you have Coach Hill, one of your coaches, just having him coaching the guys, I mean, that brings awareness of that had happened. So it's definitely a big moment in Saluki football history, and at the same time, we're going to focus on making our own history.
You guys lost some key players from last season, such as Malcolm Agnew and Michael Pruitt. How do you plan to replace those guys for this upcoming season?
Well, we've talked about this from day one. Right now we got a team full of nobodies. You know, there's not a whole lot of preseason recognition with any of our guys, and we're comfortable with that. The thing I know is that we got some guys that will be somebodies. It's just a matter of them going out there and proving it, and that's what you play the season for. So, you know, all the preseason predictions and hypes and all conference teams, that no longer means a thing. Now what matters is the team that you put out there. You know, I'm curious to see how some of these guys perform. I'm looking forward to it, just to see who steps up, who's capable at playing at a level that is going to surprise some people, and I think we got a number of guys that can do that.
You got at least 5 defensive players returning for the season. What kind of a huge impact do you think they will have on the team this year?
Well, again, our experience that returns is much greater than what the paper shows. You know, right now you only got 5 starters back. In reality, you got 9 guys that have started on defense. So there's a lot of experience within the defensive side, just like there's a lot of experience on the offensive side. Just whether or not you label them as a returning starter or not, I mean, that's just, again, for media to kind of put those numbers down. For us, we know we have good experience on our offense, our defense, and our special teams returning that, again, allows me to sleep at night.
You know, they have a bandit spot on their defense? You know, how would you explain that position for
No,
them?
they're a 3-4 defense, so it's just a name for one of the linebacker spots, outside linebacker. We call ours Joker. You know, so it's just a part of the 3-4 package.
How different is theirs from yours?
Well, there's similarities. All 3-4 packages are very similar. In fact, in preparation, I'm sure they're doing the same things as we're doing right now, where they spend a lot of time with good on good, meaning their defense against their offense, just because there are some weird similarities. It just goes down to personnel. That's probably the biggest difference, how you use your personnel, some coverages, adjustments that are a little bit different than what we do, but for the most part, you know, the upfront stuff is very similar.
You know, how many freshmen did you decide not to redshirt that will play potentially?
Well, right now, the offensive players that we're going to play right away will be Daquan Isom and Chris Perkins at the running back position. And then on the defensive side, Nathan Sylvester at the defensive line position, Cody Kreider at the linebacker position, and Whitney Simon at the other linebacker spot, and then Torian Lewis at the corner spot.
Speak a little bit about Cody Kreider and what characteristics he had to become a backup as a freshman.
Well, the thing that Cody possesses is some incredible instincts, and I was interviewed by Paducah Station a week or two ago, and they said, well, what it's like having a running back convert to linebacker, and I told them, hey, this is a linebacker that was playing running back. He has some very natural instincts that you just can't coach. He has a physicality to him. He loves the hit, a nose for the football. He's not scared. You know, that's one thing. He's fearless. He doesn't care who he's going up against, and those are qualities that you need to play early.
You've discussed in the past how you have the 10-unit Alpha Dogs. Have you narrowed it down to who the captains are going to be going to?
No, we're going to stay with the Alpha Dog teams. It's been good for us. I really like how our team has come together, just because we're spreading that leadership throughout. And what we'll do for the coin toss really is the only thing that we'll do is we've got 20 seniors, so we'll have the seniors rotate according to the games that are important to them, and let them handle the coin toss. So, and then we'll vote on captains at the end of the season. I've done that before. I like that concept just because then you'll vote for your true leaders. There's times when you may have captains at the beginning of the season, and you know, things happen for whatever reason, and you probably have a different set of captains at the end of the season. So our leadership is pretty strong right now across the board. I don't want to do anything to limit that, so therefore it's going to be captain by committee.
What do you like about your variety of running back, and how many could you see yourself using forward potentially?
Well, yeah, I like what we have. You know, again, Cameron Walters looked very good. Aaron Stanton, I think, is going to be the type of player that we had hoped that he would be. You know, with the backs, we just want to make sure we have solid numbers. So, you know, to ride one running back specifically, I don't know if we're capable of doing that. But that's where a couple of those young guys, Daquan Isom, he has that big play potential. He's going to be our return guy on kickoff returns. And then Chris Perkins has just showed a very steady, progressive development during camp. He's picked up the blocking schemes very well. So we do think that, you know, 4 of them will contribute.
Is it fair to say Perkins is your short yardage back?
No, I'd say Cameron Walters, our short yardage back, even Aaron Stanton. If you take a look at Aaron, he's pretty thick. In fact, watching the NDSU Montana game, he's very similar to that running back they had in Montana.
Do you like opening the season against an FBS opponent in a Big Ten team, and why?
I like playing a opponent that's going to bring out the best in you. And so now with all the preparation we've done up to this point, we know it's going to have to be at a high level now, and you know, that's the theme of our season. The time is now, and that's allowed us to, I think, have a pretty good camp.
What are some major goals you guys have set up for this season for you guys to accomplish?
Well, to win the game we're getting ready for. I mean, it's, again, I'm not a big goal where you got a list of 20 different things you want to accomplish. Everything we're doing is team-oriented, which is basically win the game that you're preparing for. So, or more specifically, put your best game out there on the field. A lot of times the score will take care of itself, but we got to play at a high level now.
Ben Bailey, let's talk about another freshman. What do you see in him that led you to put him at number 2 at a guard? As a well, he's a redshirt freshman, so he's had some experience.
Yeah, no, Ben Bailey comes from a program, extremely successful, and he is just a tough kid. Plays hard, he's been coached well. Still, we'd love to put another 30, 40 pounds on him, and he has the frame to do that, but he is going to be a player here at SIU that he has some good football in front of him.
Coach, their offensive line, you know, how do you win that with your defensive line? That's apparently the best part of their team is their offensive line.
Yeah, they are talking, I think they're ranked the 4th best in the Big Ten. I don't know who ranks them, but, you know, but our defensive line, I think, is one of the best defensive lines in the Missouri Valley, which is saying something also. You know, TJ Beeling has really had a great off-season, looks good this fall. Rayshawn Golden is another one that, those two in the middle, they're a great complement for each other. Brandon Williams is getting NFL looks. Adam Brandt, he's exactly what you're looking for as far as the size factor. Kahari Wade Alexander, just one of those players. I think you're going to see his name because he's a quick guy that moves well and can get into the backfield, good at penetrating. So, you know, we have some depth up front, and that's one of our strong areas.
What do you feel like will be keys to this game for you guys?
Well, any big game, it all comes down to, you know, doing what you do well. You can't have mistakes, which hurt us in the past is we've given up some big plays. Last year against Purdue, it was a fumble that led to a quick score, and, you know, next thing you know, you're kind of reeling and trying to regroup. You know, you just can't make those type of mistakes against a good team, period, and expect to win it. And so those are some of the lessons we've learned through the past. We've been spending a lot of time on ball security. You know, our loose change concept, I think, has really proved some dividends for us. And the fact that offensively, this past week, they've done a great job of just doing all the little things right and securing the football, and it's making it very challenging for us defensively to get those. So, and actually the defense has been lectured to many times about creating turnovers just because our offense has been pretty good taking care of the ball.
You know, with the 5 or 6 true freshmen that you mentioned a little bit ago, will you do anything as it gets closer to game time as far as pulling them aside or talking to them just about playing their first college game, or just business as usual, no need to point anything out? Well,
yeah, you don't need to make them any more nervous than what, you know, and again, there is a quality when you're young where you're just too dumb to know any better. You know, we don't want to tell them, okay, guys, this here's the big stage now, and, you know, don't get too nervous out there. I mean, hey, just go play, have fun. It's football. It's what you've grown up doing since you're a little kid. We're playing you because you're ready. We wouldn't be playing if you weren't ready. And then he has to have the teammates too to back that up.
Coach, what's your plan for for the quarterbacks? Matt DeSomer, you know, will we see him at wide receiver as well Saturday?
Right now, he's listed as a receiver, so that's his position, and we're not just pretending either. He is a receiver. He's good at it. He gives us a lot of abilities, both running the football and catching the football. And then there's always those potential spots where we can utilize him in the backfield. So he's going to have a very diverse role within the offensive package, and we will never completely divulge that to you.
I mean, he had a great spring. How much did he build on that in the fall? It looked like he was very tough to tackle for your defense.
You know, he's just one of those players. He has the it factor, and watched his high school tape where he played quarterback and led his team to a state championship in Indiana. And he just, you know, the numbers aren't all that impressive on him as far as how fast he is, how strong he is, but he just has that ability to make people miss. He has good instincts. He's just hard to get a solid hit on, and again, those are just qualities of a good football player, and that's what he is.
Does he have deceiving speed?
It would be deceiving because you don't think he's fast, and next thing you know, he's running down the field and people are chasing him. So it's again, he's not a burner, but at the same time, he'll get yards for you.
Is Matt McIntosh a guy you would play on special teams or not risk the quarterback depth?
Well, right now, we need to get Matt completely healthy, so he's close to that. He did tweak the ham, and he's been pretty cautious over the last 2 weeks with that, so we're just getting him back to the point where he's starting to feel confident in what he's doing. So he'll be available, but we're not going to stress him by playing in any other position except the quarterback spot.
Is there anybody else that won't be available due to injuries?
As of today, no, we're good to go.
Leonard Guerin's going to travel, or
He's going to play. And again, the depth chart you got was the depth chart, I think, from Saturday. So even from Saturday, we practiced last night, and then when we get clearance from the athletics training staff, naturally things are made. But Leonard looked very good last night, was at 100%, so he's in the lineup.
When you face a lot of tough teams like you are this year, special teams can become crucial. With both of your returners graduating last year, how are you looking to fill that role?
Well, you know, the big return guy that I worry about is always with the punt returns, because anyone can catch a kickoff return, and then it becomes more like just a offensive play. The punt return, that's where you need to have a good feel for it, and the two guys that we're looking for, Billy Reed has done that in the past for us, so he's very sure-handed. Elusive, can get us yards if he is carrying the ball, and then the other individual is Matt Sommer, so another role that he'll be playing for us. But the big thing is just making sure we're not making those mistakes where we turn the ball over. Punt return guy especially, I mean, that's your biggest fear. We're just making sure we're catching the ball. And I think in college football, if you watch the early games, you see a lot more fair catches, just because everyone is trying to make sure that the return man is comfortable in that role, and then eventually they start taking the red light off and letting him play.
The temperatures they're predicting mid-90s. Is that going to influence your depth, you think?
Well, we think it's to our advantage. Not that we're in that much different climate, but you know, we've had a good summer training. You know, and the weather that we've had here, our guys are comfortable in it. So it's just, I thought a couple of years ago when we played the University of Illinois, that ended up being to our advantage. So it's just something that's part of the game. You always want to think the weather's to your advantage, regardless of what it is.
I can't remember the two players, but obviously Indiana lost their real good runner last year to the pros, and then they transferred in UAB's really good runner. How would you compare the two, or can you?
Well, the one that is playing in the NFL right now, I mean, he's pretty special. And the UAB running back that came in, he's probably a little more of a, he's very fast. He has a 4.4 40, so he has that breakaway speed. More of a north-south type runner, though. I mean, he's going to hit you straight up, and more of a power type game. And right now, with our scouting reports, that's a little bit of the type of backs that they have are going to be a good north-south type runners. Looking at their game against Indiana State last year, the run game was very successful for them. They had well over 400 yards in rushing against Indiana State, and you know, I would expect them to make us defend the run.
offensive play calling ways. Bill is going to be on the field and Nick will be in the box, correct?
Correct.
And then they will work together to call the game?
Right, it's always a combination. You do the game plan during the week. You have ideas that you want to stay with. They're a good complement to each other. Coach O'Boyle is naturally the kind of the run coordinator and the pass protections, and Coach Hill is more of the pass game coordinator and kind of the formations and shifts and the motions that go with it. So the two of them will naturally be communicating, and that's where you want the good give and take between the two. You want to make sure that they're keeping each other tighter to the game plan, where sometimes when you just do it by yourself, you might overlook something that you wanted to do. So it's just good to have a voice there that can complement you.
What do you think of the home field advantage against teams like North Dakota State, Youngstown State, and Illinois State for this season?
Playing at home? For that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a great home schedule. Again, with the ticket sales, if a person says they're a football fan and love the game of football, why wouldn't you want to come out on a Saturday and see the lineup that we have? I mean, you got Liberty University, a top-ranked team coached by Turner Gill. They're probably going to be an FBS team within a year or two. You got Youngstown State, Old Pelini coaching there, powerhouse FCS team. You got Illinois State, who's a rival, and plus made it to the national championship game. We're just seconds away from winning a national championship. You got North Dakota State, four-time defending national champion, coming to Salukis Stadium. That's great football, you know, and they're playing in our stadium against us, and we're going to have a chance to beat them. So, you know, with that, I just don't know how you can't get excited about Saluki football and the venue that we'll have over at Saluki Stadium.
Coach, playing Indiana, how long do you talk about using a four-man front with them sometimes with your defensive line?
Well, that's just part of our package. And again, with 3-4, it's very flexible, very, you can make it into anything. You know, it's not difficult to get into a four-man look playing the 3-4 concept.
With four defensive linemen, though, I'm saying.
Well, even there, it just depends on who you got the outside linebacker being. And again, we got some things that we're not going to share. But there are things that I think will be productive for us.
Anything else? Thanks.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Coach.